Bill Rudd says, how do you walk the line between being a generalist but not being a know-it-all? You're reminding yourself that you don't know that you don't know crap. One of the best practices that I have added to my repertoire, and I'm not always great at it, but I really try, is to say, I don't know when I don't know. And I don't know who that is. I don't know who you mentioned. I don't know who that artist is. I don't know what that, saying I don't know, saying it immediately and saying it fast. The smartest people I've ever had to deal with, the smartest people I've ever had the pleasure of dealing with are the ones that ask the most questions. And I love having the right answer. Oh my God, there's nothing better than having the right answer. When someone says, hey, do you know about this blah, blah, blah? And you're like, yes, sit down and I will tell you about a Turing test, right? Like, oh, nothing feels better. But the question to ask yourself when you're explaining something is, has this explanation been requested? It's a question I have to ask myself all the time, because I love talking, and that can be tiring. Yes. Did you get a question, or are you over-elaborating on a question that was very simple? Yeah, humility is hard to do and really vital if you're going to be a person with other people. It's absolutely true. And you really have to remind yourself, no matter how good a generalist one is, one still knows very next to bupkis. Seriously. Seriously. I mean, look, what is this channel but like endless videos of me messing stuff up when I think I know what I'm doing? The great Brandino says, when you're at cons, fans like to bring things that they've made to show you. Has anyone ever brought you anything where your first thought was, how are you not in the industry? Yes. It is actually one of the great pleasures. Look, first of all, people bringing you the thing they made to talk about it is itself just wonderful. It's a great conversation and I'm here for it. I endlessly love having that conversation. You made this, you took the time, your ideas and your blood, sweat, and tears are in this thing. But every now and then, a young person brings me something. I see a lot of excellently built things. I see much less excellently painted things. And every now and then, not to say that the painting is overall bad, it's just that really excellent painting is harder to find than excellent building. And occasionally, probably two or three times per con, a young person will bring something up to the table that shows a tremendous ability of construction and a deep point of view about color. And when I find a young person with what I can see is a genuine point of view about color, I let them know that that is rare. I tell them, your understanding of color is important. These two colors are magnificent together. That is not common. I had a kid come up to my table in Orlando wearing some armor, and I said, every time I see someone in full 3D printed armor, I just think about how many months that printer was going, right? I met a bunch of Iron Men at Silicon, like all of them wearing 3D printed Iron Man suits, and they were like years of printing. So this kid comes up to my table in Orlando wearing armor, and I'm like months and months on the printer, and his mom, he was like 15, his mom was like, no, 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, dude, I think I even told the story right after that con, but I said to the mom, I was like, this young man will go out into the world and interview for jobs. I would suggest he look for jobs making stuff, and I would suggest you bring a picture of this armor and a piece of it and explain that you built it in 2 weeks. Because as a supervisor, all I really want to know is what you can do for me, what you can execute for me. And when I see that you could build your own suit of armor in 2 weeks, there's a lot of time management going on in there that makes you incredibly useful to everybody. And Mark Ratz, the amazing illustrator, painter, movie poster creator, is a good friend. And last year in Australia, we had dinner a couple of times. And we both shared this, that the most fun part of being at a con is seeing a great talent at the beginning of their arc and giving them a little, hey, you're really good. Let me just tell you, you're excellent. I'm getting an endorphin rush just thinking about it. There's another one that, yeah. And I mean, look, the other thing is that this, when I say how, when your question is, how are you not in the industry? And the problem with that is the industry barely exists, right? It is a fever dream that lives one film to the next. And everybody who runs shops, whether it's Mike Elizalde or Spectral Motion, Legacy Effects, or Fawn Davis, they all have to operate under the same restrictions. Righteous Robot says, when is it time to walk away from a project and admit defeat? Or is there ever such a time? Oh, there is very much such a time. So, I don't know how many of you have, everyone has been single in their adulthood at some point. And when you're single in adulthood and, a relationship has ended and you've got to get back out there and you've got a date, I was in this position in 2002 and 2003, and my buddy, who was dating a lot on an online site called nerve.com, was like, you should sign up. And I was all like, I literally, probably some micro expression crossed my face where I'm like, I'm not the kind of person who meets people online. And he was all like, dude, why are you saying that to me like that? This is a muscle. You are, by going on nerve.com at this point in your life and dating, you are just building a muscle you are building strength to meet the partner that you want to meet. Why not execute that process faster? I ended up meeting my wife on that dating site. Knowing when to walk away from a project is the same kind of muscle memory, and there is never going to be an obvious signal that it's time to chuck it. I mean, sure, if the barn burns down, you got to give up the car that was in there. But like, in general, it's always going to be a personal call. And it's always going to feel awful because you have thrown good money into a project. It has gone sour. You've thrown good money after bad. It's gone so sour you realize that in order to complete it, you have to start from scratch. That's usually the case when you're scrapping a project. And it's never going to feel amazing. It's always going to feel like a tough decision because it really is a tough decision. The trick is, you want to make that decision as early as possible. So you want to build the muscle for scrapping, throwing good money after bad, and realizing that you've got too much emotion stuck in this, executing it this way, and it's inhibiting you from being able to complete the whole thing. I recommend thinking of chucking a project and starting from scratch as a really important regular shop practice to indulge in. Even up to and including things like, oh, I broke a blade. You know what? Let me just start this whole thing over. Not an unreasonable thing to give yourself in terms of the institutional knowledge of what it feels like to send a project packing. And it's never going to feel great. Even when you build up that muscle and the muscle gets nice and big, it's always going to suck every time you scrap a project and send it packing and start from scratch. But there is no better muscle to build, in my opinion, as a creator, because it keeps you from over-grinding. It keeps you from wasting precious energy you don't have on something that's taking more than it should. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I wanted to briefly mention that you could become a tested member. I know, everybody is competing for you to become a member of their thing. What I want to express to you is that the Tested membership has become such an important part of the Tested family. We get tremendous feedback from the Tested members, and they expand the stories that we can tell and the things that we have access to. And you can become a part of it right now by clicking on the link below. See you in the chat.